San Antonio Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves. DeMar DeRozan struggling his last 5 games.
Pop was dancing. Hey, Pop, in a good mood tonight.
4 turnovers a game, just 14 points. So DeRozan out, and the Timberwolves taking control without the Spurs. Leader of that offense, Karl Anthony Towns, down to free paint.
Meow.
Big cat. I see what you're doing there.
Like that. Oh, not on that one, though.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
Hey, he's in the zone. As we say, Booze, he's on one right now.
He's on one, for sure.
Hey, Minnesota with a 7-point lead. LaMarcus like, nah, I got us tonight. Leading the comeback. Derrick Rose, speaking of comeback, career comeback, having a career year.
I love it, Booze.
Yeah, he's playing terrific, man.
Rudy Gay, also, he's a clutch bucket getterer. The question we ask, can you get me a bucket?
Another one of those guys coming back from Achilles tear 2 years ago, getting back to his game.
And he's looking good and in rhythm right now, more than we've seen in years.
That's right.
3-point lead for San Antonio, under 2 to go. LaMarcus Aldridge again.
Automatic.
Night, 25-9 for him. Derrick Rose keeping Minnesota in it. 23 points, 6 assists. So we got a 1-point game, 3-point game, 4 seconds to go. Rose.
Oh.
Not a clean look.
Not a clean look, good D.
Shooting a career high from 3-point range on the
Good D.
season. But
Well contested.
yeah. So Minnesota falls to 3 below 500 now, 116-113. The Spurs, though, they just keep on rolling. They had lost 2 in a row coming into this one, made sure it wasn't 3 in a row.
You never get worried about the Spurs, Chris. You know they'll figure it out. Pop will always go in the lab and get the best out of his team.
Here's Tom Rinaldi with LaMarcus Aldridge. So Marco Bellinelli with 19 off the bench. You hear LaMarcus Aldridge talking about the refs. We're going to leave that one alone because
you can talk about it. They can't find you. Chris, what are you trying to say?
Look,
they can't find you.
Let's focus on the positives, okay? They're 21.
Hold on, Chris. They can't find you. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that I don't have a dog in that fight, and I know that this team is 21-5 now when he scores 20 or more.
It's unbelievable. He gets in that zone. We know it's right shoulder. It's bang, bang, and turn through it. And I think Pop has finally figured out a way to keep him in his sweet spot, keep him in his comfort zone, and you just keep feeding him. And Boozy, you've been there before when you've been in that block. Once you know your team's going to feed you, and then they're waiting for you to make good decisions, now you go play free basketball.
Yeah, he's more aggressive. I like how I've seen him the last couple of years, but it just seems like this year he feels more comfortable out there. And it's a crazy discrepancy between his wins, he's averaging like 24, 25, and their losses, he's averaging like 15. So you know when he's playing well, the Spurs are playing well.
And DeMar DeRozan did not play, and he's been struggling over his last 5 games. Early in the season, it was DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. If they're not pouring it in, the Spurs have no chance. To see them get this win tonight without DeMar DeRozan, do you see them developing more as a group, being able to rely on other guys offensively?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we always talk about the system with the Spurs, and I think the system speaks for itself. You look at a guy like Bryn Forbes, who's not a true point guard, but he's playing solid basketball. So guys like that, you're saying to yourself, we know if they're playing hard and playing the right way, Pop's going to get the best out of them. And especially when someone goes down, you see him step up as a team. And, of course, LaMarcus Aldridge's leadership led the way tonight.
And when you see a guy like DeMar DeRozan struggling the way he is recently when he's having a great season, especially distributing, you have to just think, okay, there's probably a minor injury there, and maybe he needs to sit, because there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured, right? Maybe he's been playing hurt for a while. So I would imagine that's the situation with DeMar.
Yeah, and Pop's always been good about resting his guys, getting them a chance to get healthy, to heal up, because he wants them healthy come postseason. Oh, you like that, 3D?
We know what that is. That the Kawhi face? Did you just do the Kawhi laugh to Booze on that one?
Where you been, man?
But I'll tell you one more thing, though. Pop does a great job of bringing in the right pieces, like bringing in Bellinelli from Philadelphia, bringing him back was a big pickup for them. Rudy Gay, as you guys saw, playing very well, too.
So you know who plays well on a consistent night-to-night basis? Kevin Durant.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, move it.
Going to the rack. How serious was that move?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, move it.
Man, oh man, I could take a few more of those.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, move it.
And Boogie hammers it on the run.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, move it.
Somebody woke up Boogie. Well timed.
You watch DeMarcus Cousins play, you see all the talent. You see the numbers, not too many big guys at his size is that agile, that mobile, can shoot the three, put the ball on the floor, get to the basket.
He could be the best big man in the NBA. He got so much physical talent.
Boogie for three. Unbelievable. Not going to the rim and dunked it on a wind-up right-hand finish.
And DeMarcus Cousins can't go. He's holding that left lower leg area in the area of his Achilles.
It's one of the most unique free agent situations we've seen in a lot of years.
I'm a warrior.
In gigantic news, DeMarcus Cousins has agreed to a one-year, $5.3 million deal with the defending champion Golden State Warriors.
No dropping me to the ground, 'cause it's going down undefeated.
Apparently nobody else wanted DeMarcus Cousins. He didn't get one single offer.
Well, my main goal is to win a championship. That's what I'm signing up for.
When the injury happened, he's getting ready to sign a near max contract. So think about that.
Look at the work Boogie has put in just to come back. Think about the work ethic it takes to get all the way back physically from where he was.
I'm improving each and every day. I'm getting strong each and every day. And, it's a matter of time before I'm back on the floor.
We're definitely excited to have him. He's been working hard. It's been a long year for him. I'm looking forward to just seeing him out on the floor, just doing something that he loves again.
You can shoot, you can space the floor, you can do it all. He's a monster on the boards. He's going to be great.
It'll be a lot of emotions, honestly. And, I don't think anybody could ever really understand this, and I don't really expect them to, unless they've experienced it themselves.
This is something that other teams have never had to worry about with Golden State. They can now actually produce offense from the inside out with a true big.
Maybe Boogie is the wrinkle in the injection of energy that this Warriors team is really looking for this season.
I'm excited to see what we look like when once DeMarcus gets his feet underneath him. I think we got a chance to be really good.
Undefeated.
The Golden State Warriors will bring out the 66 starting lineup of the Steve Kerr era tonight. This one happens to include 5 All-Stars with the addition of DeMarcus Cousins, who is set to make his season debut tonight for the Dubs in a starting lineup in L.A. against the Clippers. That's where they begin a 5-game road trip, and that's where we find Sean Powell from NBA.com. Sean, good to see you as always. Expectations tonight for minutes, not only in terms of how many, but how they're doled out for Cuz.
I think everything is going to be tempered. Obviously, you're coming off a major injury. You missed training camp, first 2.5 months of the season. Steve Kerr says he doesn't really have minutes restrictions, but DeMarcus Cousins says, hey, I'm going to be out there for 30 minutes. So I think it's one of those things where they're just going to see how he holds up, see if he can get into the flow. And I think there's going to be a lot of communication between DeMarcus and Steve as far as when to pull.
Sean, how much of this night is about DeMarcus Cousins finding his own rhythm, and how much of it is about him finding the right rhythm with this group in terms of just looking comfortable, not putting up numbers, but looking like he fits?
I think it's actually a little bit of both. You have to understand that the Warriors in the Steve Kerr era never really had a big man who could score. Not that they really wanted Andrew Bogut to score, JaVale McGee, or Zaza, but DeMarcus provides a twist. And this is a guy who, before he got hurt last year, averaged 25 points. For his career, he's averaging right around 22, 23 points. So he can score. So now the trick for the Warriors is, how do we fit this new dynamic into our flow? A lot will depend on how well DeMarcus Cousins plays. But, in the past, their centers were on the bench the last 2 minutes of a tight game. Now that DeMarcus Cousins plays well, their center will be on the floor, and we'll see how it all works. They have a few months to work it out, see going into the playoffs how this is all going to fit.
Sean, before we came on, we had some of your video from shoot-around today, and other than the fact that it looked like it was shot on a flip phone, I thought it was really, really good stuff with Steve and DeMarcus. But what are Draymond and Kevin Durant saying right now about this coming back, and what's their mindset in terms of taking on the experiment when they've just kind of figured themselves out?
Well, first of all, Draymond and Kevin Durant are thrilled DeMarcus is coming back in this game, because the last time they were here at the, at the Staples Center, Draymond and Kevin Durant got into it. So now everybody's talking about, this DeMarcus Cousins first game and not what happened the last time they were here. But I think everybody's excited. Everyone's saying all the right things, and they're very enthusiastic about what DeMarcus Cousins can bring and also about his fitness, at least in practice to this point.
Sean, Cuz is healthy enough to play tonight. Obviously, they believe he's well enough to get back into an NBA flow, but that doesn't necessarily mean he'll be all-star Cuz anytime soon. Considering how unpredictable the history for recovery of this particular injury is, does the team really have any idea how close he'll be to the player he was a year ago?
No, they don't. And this is a guy, by the way, who weighs a listed 270 pounds. No big man obviously has come back from this injury and been very good. I know Elton Brand had it. He was okay when he came back, but even he said he wasn't the same player. This is all new territory for everybody involved, for DeMarcus, for the Warriors, for everybody who's watching, to see if a big man can come back. Now, the other thing is DeMarcus going to play from rim to rim, an interior presence defensively and also get low post points? Well, that's a lot of running up and down, as opposed to a player who would probably play roughly around the perimeter. So, look, there are a lot of questions here, and tonight's not going to answer those questions. Maybe next week. It's all an evolution. As Steve Kerr says, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We want to see how this plays out.
It's going to be fascinating. Sean Powell with us. And Sean, we appreciate after you put down the flip phone from shooting that video that you answered your pager when we called to you so you could come on and talk.
I'm not going to put up with too much more than speaking on my guy like that. I'm not going to do it.
We'll talk to you soon. All right, see you, Sean. This is going to be really interesting tonight.
You know what? And I think Sean raised a great point about the fact that no matter what the external expectation is and how much we try and grade this on a quarter-by-quarter basis, internally, the Warriors know exactly what they're dealing with. Think about the time Steph and KD have missed the past couple of years. Draymond now this season. They've had to adjust and incorporate somebody into the mix. Now, granted, this is the first time they'll have to do it with somebody who has not yet played with this group.
Right.
That's new. But the idea that they understand the measured tone you have to take in these situations gives me a good feeling about what Steve Kerr and his guys are doing. They wouldn't throw him out there if there was any hope of anything other than a smooth transition for Boogie Cousins.
Well, and we talked about it before the show, too. Some people have likened this to a midseason trade, where they have a big advantage over anyone who acquired a player like this midseason is Boogie's had the whole year to get to know all of them on a human level. They've gotten a whole year to start to trust and understand what he's all about. So they're ahead of the curve in terms of introducing him. But let's not kid ourselves. This is going to be a lot of upheaval in the lineup. There's a reason KD went for 51 when Steph Curry was out. Enough mouths to feed over time can be a problem until they all decide that they're willing to sacrifice to the level they need to.
It's also a lot easier to get along when the most volatile guy, the biggest personality on the roster, is on the sideline in a suit, right? It'll be really interesting to see what happens when he's on the floor.
I think Draymond would take offense to that. I mean, Draymond would dispute that anybody could own that title over him.
It's neck and neck.
He at least wants to stay on.
But at least with Draymond,
get thrown out of a game this season in which he was not participating.
Exactly.
At least with Draymond, you go, oh, that's just Draymond. They're used to it, right? I mean, that's been his role, to be sort of their dirt worker, they're nasty, right? He's supposed to be their edge.
Right.
So now they have two guys that bring edge, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens when they're thrown into a situation where it's a highly competitive moment.
Cousins' debut tonight as the Warriors start their 5-game road trip in L.A. against the L.A. Clippers. Back with more here from Atlanta after